If you're a leader in a field like healthcare, public administration, or insurance, you know the pressure to adopt AI is massive. But here's the thing, there's a huge problem we need to talk about. And you know what? It's not the technology. So today, we're going to dive into the real reason AI projects fail and how a whole new approach called organizational AI can finally fix it.
Just look at this number, 80%. That is the just staggering failure rate for AI initiatives inside regulated environments. Think about that. A huge investment with an absolutely tiny return. So what on earth is going on here? Is the technology we're using just not good enough? I mean, is that it? Or is there something deeper, something structural that's holding all this progress back? Well, that's the core question we're going to answer right now.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to uncover something called the AI pilot trap. Then we'll diagnose the root cause, a sneaky thing called organizational debt. From there, we'll define a brand new solution, organizational AI, and explore its engine, the architecture of trust. Then we'll look at the new roles you need to build it. And finally, we'll get to the ultimate prize, structural sovereignty.
Okay, let's jump right in. If you've ever had a bad case of pilotitis, those endless pilot projects that look amazing but then just fizzle out and go nowhere, this is going to sound very, very familiar.
So here's the crazy thing. Organizations are pouring millions, literally millions, into the latest and greatest AI tools, platforms, and models. And yet, the huge majority of these projects, they get stuck. They work just fine in a lab, but they never, ever scale across the company. And the reason is almost never because the tech was weak. The real problem? Well, it's hiding in plain sight.
And that brings us to the real culprit. It's this invisible force we call organizational debt. And it's what makes the very foundation of your organization too weak to support the weight of a real AI transformation.
So what does this debt actually look like in the real world? Well, it's role chaos. Nobody knows who's really accountable for what. It's tool sprawl, dozens of disconnected apps that don't talk to each other. It's fragmented processes, a completely missing service architecture to define how work actually gets done. And all of this is buried under constant compliance pressure. Look, you can't build a skyscraper on a swamp, and you sure can't scale AI on this kind of organizational debt.
Okay, so if organizational debt is the problem, what's the fix? Well, this is where we have to introduce a new and I think essential strategic category that lives right between the usual approaches. You see, for years, we've basically been stuck between two camps. On one side, you have technology AI. The answer is always buy more tools, platforms, models. On the other side, you have change management. We just need more communication, more training workshops. But there is a massive, massive gap right between the two. And this is that missing piece. Organizational AI. It's not just tech, and it's not just talk. Think of it as the structural operating system, the architectural blueprint that actually connects the two. It's what makes AI safe, governable, and truly impactful by design.
And this metaphor is so key. Don't think of this as another piece of software you need to install. No, think of it like you're an architect with a blueprint for your entire service ecosystem. It's about engineering the structure before you even think about automating it.
So this brings us to the blueprint in action. Because look, an architecture is useless if people don't actually use it or believe in it, right? So the core mechanism, the engine that makes organizational AI work, is trust. And it all boils down to this one core principle. Especially in regulated fields where you can't just move fast and break things. You absolutely, positively must define the service architecture first. Structure has to come before automation. Period. So how do we build this? It's all based on two interconnected loops. First up, the people loop. It always starts with trust. That trust is what allows for genuine participation from your teams. And that active participation is what lets you build a robust and, this is key, an accepted structure.
Okay, at the exact same time, you've got the CFO loop running. Here, that same foundational trust gives leadership the confidence to invest in building that structure. And a really well-designed structure is what ultimately leads to measurable financial impact.
And here is where the magic really happens. When you combine them, you get this incredible, virtuous, self-reinforcing cycle. Trust leads to participation, which builds structure. That structure delivers real impact, and that visible impact reinforces the initial trust, starting the whole cycle over again, but stronger this time. This is the engine of sustainable transformation.
So, who drives this whole process?
I mean, a blueprint needs an architect, right? This kind of deep structural work requires a completely new type of leader.
So let's introduce the change and service architect. This is a mission-critical hybrid role. It combines the hard, systemic logic of a service owner, someone who really gets how value is created, with the soft, people-centric leadership skills of a certified change manager.
Let's be super clear how this is different from, say, a traditional project manager. A PM focuses on delivering a project, on implementing a tool. The change and service architect, they're focused on building long-term structural resilience. Their goal isn't just to install some software. It's to build an entire service ecosystem that is safe, compliant, and actually adopted by the people who use it.
So you do all this hard work. You build the architecture. You empower these new roles. What's the big payoff? What's the ultimate strategic benefit of taking this architectural approach? Well, it's not just about successful AI projects. It's about a fundamental shift in what your organization is capable of.
First, you get AI safety by design. This means you move from a reactive, check-the-box approach to compliance to a proactive safety that is literally engineered into the fabric of your services. Governance is no longer an afterthought. It's part of the blueprint from day one.
Second, and this is absolutely critical for regulated providers, is service stability under pressure. In healthcare and public utilities, you can't afford to break things. An architectural approach means your services stay resilient and reliable even as you innovate.
And all of this leads to the ultimate payoff: structural sovereignty. This is the organizational freedom to be platform compatible and migration ready. You are no longer locked into one vendor or one technology, because your real strength lies in your own resilient internal architecture, not just in the tools you happen to be buying this year.
So, as we wrap this up, I'll leave you with this question to think about. Is your current approach to AI truly building a lasting, strategic asset for your organization? Or is it just creating more complexity, more confusion, and frankly, just more organizational debt for someone else to clean up down the road?